Oh, what about? Oh, you want to go to that before friggin'?
Yeah.
Okay, like get it over with.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, right off the bat, Mike Santana versus Nick Nemeth, TNA title.
Uh, since I actually have no idea, for everybody listen, I don't watch TNA. I've tried from the inception of the company, and I just can't stick with it. And it's nothing against the company, but these days, actually, these days it is. I've tried watching these days, and I'm like fucking bored. So Nemeth wins.
Nemeth wins because Mike Santana is probably out of there now.
Yeah, Mike Santana's probably gone, so Nick Nemeth's gonna get the belt back.
The one of the matches that's intriguing me is X Division Championship, Ultimate X. So Cedric Alexander, Leon Slater, Frankie Kazarian, Amazing Red, Casey Navarro, Mr. Elegance, which I can't believe they're putting him in that fucking match, and Fabian Alkner. But the names that come at me the most is Cedric Alexander, Leon Slater, and Kazarian. And the
Um,
the Ultimate X Championship matches are always good.
yeah, they are. Leon Slater. Put the
But
belt back. Put the belt back on him so he doesn't leave.
but supposedly you know, he's on his way out too.
See, I didn't know that. So here we
Yeah.
go, folks. You
Yep.
get to see what it's like when you got a guy who's more current on stuff and someone who doesn't care about a certain company.
Right.
All right,
Yeah.
so Amazing Red, really?
Yeah. 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 But I mean,
I'm actually gonna pick him.
interesting. Okay.
I'm gonna pick him. I'm gonna pick Amazing Red because of his history with the company
Okay.
and the fact, yeah. I'm going with Amazing Red. I'm going with Amazing Red as a long shot to win that one.
I'm just gonna go with Cedric Alexander to retain
Yeah,
and be boring.
it's not boring. Actually, I think Cedric deserves that, but I'm going to pick Amazing Red. Cedric Alexander is a guy who I really, when he was in a hurt business in the WWE with, MVP, Shelton, and the
Yeah.
Almighty Bobby Lashley,
Right.
I liked that group. To me, they were a modern day Four Horsemen. I haven't seen a group have that kind of a fucking click since the original Four Horsemen for the basic premise of the group. Um, and it just Cedric is an underrated talent. So them retaining the title makes sense, but I'm gonna go with Amazing Red.
Yeah, and Cedric's one of those guys like he's gotten much bigger since when he started, but he can still do everything he did when he was a lot smaller.
Yeah.
So, and the only other match I really care about is Eddie Edwards is fighting Moose, which is probably going to be a good match because Moose is good, Eddie Edwards is good. And then the other match is Mustafa Ali is defending the international championship against a mystery opponent. So,
Okay, so the mystery opponent thing always makes me think the mystery guy is gonna win,
right.
but and I'm gonna pick the mystery guy because of how they treated Mustafa Ali down there. They give him all kinds of shit, and then when the big moment comes, they pull the carpet out from under his feet. Um, with the exception of him actually winning the international title, but they took it off a guy who was leaving. So I'm going with mystery opponent, taking the championship. Whoever the mystery opponent is, I hope you know what's going on because TNA is up for sale. So I don't know if I want to be a mystery opponent joining a company that's up for sale.
Well, they didn't say it was up for sale. It was just like the people at whatever friggin' company they're owned by. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Um, they didn't say it was up for sale, but they were asked what the price would be if it was up for sale, and they said like 40 to 50 million.
Yeah, what I was hearing at the end of about 4 or 5 hours ago today was AEW's Tony Khan shot down the idea of buying it because they want 40 million for it right now. That's the asking price currently is 40 million. So I take that as it's on the table. May
Yeah,
not be, come get this, but it's on the table for an outlandish price.
yeah.
Um, and apparently the first people who have the fucking veto rights on it and the opportunity to buy it is the WWE. If anyone buys it, I would expect it to be the WWE/TKO, but not at 40 mil. Um, he said
What's
Moose. Sorry, go ahead.
so supposedly they have all sorts of debt on the books too, which would prevent WWE from wanting to take that on.
It sounds like one of those things where, with like Vince McMahon and ECW, where Shane wanted to buy the company out when they were about to go under, and Vince was like, "Let them go under. The purchase after is cheaper for them." Hence,
Right,
that's what happened.
right.
We could see Paulie talking about that. He said Eddie Edwards and Moose. Um, I'm gonna pick Eddie Edwards, although I think Moose should win. Moose is a guy that I don't think they've ever really done the right thing with, even when they put the world title on his ass.
It was looking
Um,
good for a while. Now he's just, from what I see of TNA, and I'll catch it when I can, and I'll skip through it at times. Um, but Moose was big, and I mean, had that epic match against Oba at the Felt
yeah,
Forum. I don't know what it's fucking called now.
whatever. It's a felt form.
Right,
Anybody who
yeah,
knows, they know. It's the smaller arena inside the garden.
right, right. And it looked like he was like, you know, cementing his role in TNA, and now it's just, you know, he's fighting Eddie Edwards, and he's just not as prominent of a
Yeah,
role.
and he's fighting guys that are in the previous group that he got kicked out of.
Yeah,
You know, if that company goes under, gets sold, or whatever the case, Moose, in my opinion, is again, this is why our podcasts go on because I jibber jabber too much, and I apologize to all you people, but bear with it, enjoy it, love
they
it.
can fucking deal with it.
No,
It's enlightening conversation. So
they could deal with it when they scrub their toilets and run away from their wives because they're getting yelled at for whatever the fuck they didn't buy at the store. Um, I'd actually, if I was Tony Khan looking at any talent picking, I'd pick Moose. And I'd pick Moose and I'd stick him in the Hurt Syndicate with Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. I think he's a good fit in there. I think he'd be a good fit in there. Like MVP's got that kind of ability to get somebody over. And if you think of him and Bobby Lashley as a tag team, since AEW hasn't done what Bobby Lashley what I would have done, that's put the title on him, and since he's so legit, them as a tag team would be really good. And you could have Shelton do the singles run. Uh, but that won't happen. Moose is a huge dude too.
yep.
I just can I've never been able to accept Moose in TNA because of how big he is in that ring. You look at Moose and it's like he makes the size of the ring look like a fucking playpen in the living room
Yep.
because he's such a big guy. And I think a guy with that size and that kind of talent should be picked up by one of the bigger companies.
And
And
dude could do some aerial shit too.
yeah, he's not a ham and egg or a slouch. He can get off his feet.
Yep.
He's a believable character. Moose is the kind of guy that if this was the '80s, you stick him with Jimmy Hart or a Bobby Heenan, Bobby the Brain. So he's got a voice because what he does in the ring sells. He just needs somebody to talk for him.
See, you don't watch TNA that much, but we just had a conversation about TNA.
Because I know Moose. Moose has been there for ages, and again, because I'm like every fucking time I see him in that TNA ring, even when it was a little play, the octagon they had, when it was Impact,
Yeah.
and in the current ring, I'm like, that dude's huge in that ring
Yeah.
because the ring, and it's just he's such a big guy. He needs to be in something else, and it's not saying that the TNA ring is a playpen or anything, but he's such a big fucking dude. And but yeah, I see Eddie Edwards going over, which is fucking dumb, but I see it happening.
Yeah, you bring it up though. There aren't really many big guys in TNA. The only one is AJ Francis, which
Yeah,
I've raved about that motherfucker. I think he's one of the best. This is a whole other conversation on a long list of one of the best big men ever. And
um,
it's a shame that he's
oh,
he's where he is, where he could be so much bigger because the guy's matches, every time the guy has a match, it's good. It doesn't matter if it's a big guy, medium-sized guy, smaller guy. It's always a good match. He's lighter on his feet. He gets the stigma of that friggin' that flop he did over the top rope in WWE, but he's come a long way. His promos are fucking great. So yeah, but like I said, that's a whole other conversation.
I'm not putting him in the same category you just did, but what I will say about him is ever since that WWE over the top rope flop, his run in TNA has showed his improvement and that he can
Definitely.
actually do what he can actually do. He is good in the ring. And the only other guy in that company that's like, yeah, like a moose size.
Right.
He's somebody else who he's done well in TNA, and when that company folds, he can shine somewhere else. Not the WWE, because you saw how they traded him, but you know he's not a ham and egger. He's really much better than I expected him to be in TNA. TNA has shown what he can do.
I
As I
don't I,
said it for the third time.
I don't know. Like, are they ever gonna go under? I mean, they always manage to friggin' just hang on by the skin of their teeth.
If you put yourself on the market, which whatever officially or not, you're waiting for someone to buy you out. So if someone buys you out, I consider that the same as going under. Someone else took you over. It'll happen. You never know. It could be someone out of left field too. We're not thinking about that. Comes in and swoops up TNA when they drop the price, like New Japan or Vince McMahon.
Oh,
What else is
imagine
on the?
that. Imagine that. McMahon buys TNA.
I'm not imagining that. I'm imagining what I saw as a rumor today, possibly coming true. McMahon returning to the WWE when the court cases are settled.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah, not gonna happen.
no,
Maybe a Hall of Fame induction, but it's not. No, there's
yeah,
they're too PC now to do something like that.
we could do an hour easy about Vince himself. So let's get
An
back to our.
hour, shit, man.
Well, we could do a two-parter like we're going to do about the Hulkster.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, hey, fans! Spoiler alert! There's another episode of the Hulkamania one coming up, which is out right now. Our current Hulk Hogan conversation is out. Um, like, share, subscribe, give it a listen, especially if you're a Hulkamaniac from the '80s.
YouTube and
You,
Spotify. YouTube and Spotify.
yeah, YouTube and Spotify. Fuck Instagram, YouTube and Spotify.
Oh, oh, Instagram's back, by the way.
Unfuck Instagram.
They sent they s- they sent the code to WhatsApp for some reason.
You know what, man? Whatever the fuck, because it's connected to Meta. That's probably what happened.
Yeah,
What Meta owns WhatsApp.
yeah,
So,
right.
are you ready to
Anyway, yeah.
or are you ready to dive into the AEW?
Let's dig into AEW. Yeah.
All
So
right, so
we could we could start it off with 12-man tag.
yeah, because I was like, what tag match? I have a thought on this match, on the whole pay per view overall. Is two thoughts. Pardon me for the miscalculation. One is that Forbidden Door should be done after this year because it's not what it was when it originally took place. A handful of companies throughout the world working with AEW to create a pay per view. We all know who the fuck it is now. It's who they have a working relationship with, CMLL and New Japan. And after this pay per view, I'm pretty sure the New Japan working relationship is over. So, um, the 12-man match makes me go, why isn't the world title on the
Right.
line? And
Right.
looking at the guys looking at the match, I'm going to go. There's two things I see happening, and I'm actually torn on it. First, I see Briscoe's team winning with MJF, the world champ, taking the pin. And I see that happening with Andrade screwing over MJF finally, which, you know, Andrade is definitely going towards a heel, excuse me, a babyface turn.
Yeah.
So That's the first finish I could see happening. The other one, I'm kind of fucking hearing the little voices in my head and the gut instinct tell me is going to happen. Is Briscoe turns heel on his buddies, and Darby takes the pin in the match, and MJF's team goes over.
I think that is probably the zaniest prediction you'll make for any of these matches.
Do you
So
want? Would you like my reasoning behind it?
go ahead.
The lack of Briscoe being a part of the fucking promos on Dynamite with his buddies and doing them himself, and then at the end of the show, the usual Briscoe brawl bullshit.
I see MJF's team going over. That's pretty much it.
Who takes the pin? You know what? Never mind. Pretty much it's good enough. It's a 12-man tag. It's gonna be a fucking ruckus anyway. Um,
But I have been. I mean, when he was Jake something in TNA, he was all right. Jake Doyle
Jake,
is actually being presented as a really good fucking character. Not that he's gonna take the pin or get the pin, but just a little side note about that character specifically, because when he joined the Don Callis family, I was like, oh, okay, just somebody else to stick in the background. But they're actually presenting him as, a badass.
yeah, he's more than something. He's actually somebody.
That's
Um,
right.
and his his bit on Dynamite was fucking hilarious.
Yep.
The arm bringer on fucking the old school arm bringer on fucking MJF,
Yeah.
and and Andrade's encouraging him to keep doing it. When when
Yeah.
when Orange Cassidy slipped the move, that was great. It's fucking good. Uh,
That's
there's
that's
something to that guy. He has that old school, another guy, an old school fucking heel vibe. And I think something can be done with him if it's worked correctly.
hey, in a mid card role. Yeah. I mean, he's never gonna, challenge for the world title, but in a good mid card role, he has some shit going on.
Yeah, he's a believable mid card heel with Don Callis doing the voice for him. I can totally see that. Oh, and by the way, did you see the T-shirt? The Don Callis
Oh
MJF
God, I was gonna
shirt?
bring that up. Classic.
The Don Callis artwork is hilariously gay and
Oh boy.
not, but it's not in a bad way. This is that kind of humor is geared towards people in our age group. Where there's two oil dudes in a painting together that are gay. Look at the reaction of the rest of the Callis family. They're all
That's
appalled.
that's what was even funnier. The fact that they were sickened by it.
Yeah, they're like, what's wrong with you, dude?
But it's just funny how like whenever Don Callis is presented in one of his paintings, he's like ripped, oiled up, like a Mega Man in each one of them.
Yeah, it's just what makes it fucking hilarious. Meanwhile, he's Lex Luthor.
Like
Uh,
those the paintings with Jericho that he did
yeah.
were great.
Excuse me. I got the hiccups, folks. Not only do I have Tourette's, but I have the hiccups. So you're gonna have a
Is
fun night with us.
is that what that was?
Yeah, I got fucking hiccups.
Oh, that was like one of the least manliest hiccups I've ever heard. He
Yeah, well, I'm fighting him instead of like being a more than usual douchey douche in the fucking mic. Uh,
cool. He
Omega and Saber Jr. Who you got?
Oh, that's gonna be a fucking excellent match. Uh, I'm gonna go with Saber.
Go with Omega. I got to go with Omega. They got to have him win matches, good matches too, to go to the Canadian pay per view, the new pay per view that debut called Redemption
Yeah.
to go against MJF. So I got Omega in that. Plus, looking at this card, most of the New Japan people who are on it already work with AEW. So, you know, in the next year or so, I can see Sabre Jr. being in AEW or whenever his New Japan contract is up.
I wouldn't mind that. I mean, it's been a few years where I was thinking, Why don't he just come to AEW already? But he's still with New Japan. Um, what about Osprey versus Swerve?
Osprey. So, and the reason I'm picking Osprey, you know, All In is in London, his hometown.
Yeah,
So he should be for putting asses in seats. It should be him and MJF in the main event for the world title. They had a fucking excellent match when they met there for the Continental Championship
yep.
back in the day. So we know they can work great together. They're going to cut promos. They're going to build that match. That's the best match for the main event of that show. It's also where I would book him losing and MJF retaining at All In because of the fucking Death Riders turning on Osprey, which is definitely coming. So, and most likely to be because of some shit like they come to help him out, and he turns it down, and then they turn on him. But yeah, he has to win. No slide on Swerve. Swerve's excellent, but he makes the most sense for going into All In. As I overshared my opinions again. What do you
And
think?
I I think Osprey wins. Um, I think Tony Khan likes satisfying the people more than Triple H does keeping the story going.
Yeah, he's a wrestling fan. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and I definitely appreciate that. He wants to give the hometown crowd the big moment. Like, so what is it going to mean in the future? Osprey loses it all in. They immediately go back to America. It doesn't really mean as much to the American audience that he got pinned in London.
right.
So I see Osprey going over, and finally winning that title. Um, I have no idea how the whole Death Riders thing. I mean, we talked about it. Are they heels? Are they faces? No, wait, they're definitely heels now. No, wait, they're definitely faces now. No, wait, they're definitely heels again. Because like this past week on Dynamite, every match they were in, they were going against babyface.
Yeah, and plus they won his heels.
Right, exactly. So
So
I'm guessing they're back to being heels. I am happy on a side note though. Wheeler Yuta's not trying to look like a badass goth dude anymore. He cut his fucking hair and he trimmed that stupid fucking beard that he had.
yeah, he's accepting his fate.
Right, exactly. He's still not the next Ricky Steamboat. But anyway,
Can't believe they fucking actually said that at one point. Oh my
yeah.
god. Um, while you're on the Death Riders, real quick, side note about the Dynamite show and Harley Cameron going over against Shafir. You know, they have something. So since they never did it the right way, Shafir should just be China,
She should
like
be
you had
fighting
mentioned.
men.
She should just be a valet. And the person who everybody hates because she makes sure Moxley wins, since they're not doing the right thing with her in the ring. In the ring, since they don't have a Ronda Rousey, that's who she is. She's a legit person. So I would expect her to be winning her matches because of her legitimacy. But you know what, man? Out of all that, we'll come up to it. Harley Cameron's later on in the situation, if I remember. No, I expect Harley Cameron to win that TBS title at the end of the call. And go on to feud with her buddy Will Nightingale. But once again, I took us on a side quest.
Um,
You're welcome.
yeah, she should be Marina Shafir should be fighting men and winning, like the China route, like you were saying, where
Yeah.
she was a valet, quote unquote, but she eventually got into beating dudes up.
Yeah.
That's what
She
they
could
should be
strangle
doing with
me.
her.
Uh,
In no universe should Harley Cameron be beating Marina Shafir at anything as far as you know any type of combat, whether that be kayfabe or legit. It's that's a big mistake. I'm
you know,
that's another one. I didn't think I'd be a fan when Marina Shafir first popped up on AEW. I'm like, oh brother, this whatever. Now I'm like a big fan of hers.
She grew on you.
Mercedes Moné versus Maya World. I think, do we both agree we have to spend a lot of time on this?
Uh, you
Oh, come
know,
on.
I'm going. The whole thing with Maya being as far in the tournament as she is, I think, has to do with her brother's passing. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not taking anything away from the girl. This has a lot to do with her brother passing
Yes.
2 fucking weeks ago.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So she goes over against Athena. She's they've shown something with her. It's not like she's not talented, but again, we go to asses and seats. Monet needs to win this match, get the thing 2 years in a row, go on to challenge Tekla at All In and get the belt. Um, because she's the one that should be the world champ right now. It makes sense. Again, credibility for the championship. Um, her journey. Although for some reason they had to make sure they turned her fucking heel, even right now, which was in the whole Maya World fucking story angle, fucking retarded. But she goes over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that, leads us, I agree, and that leads us into the next one, which is Tekla versus Starlight Kid. I don't know if anybody believes that Tekla's gonna drop that. That's just merely a way of like, okay, we gotta put the Starlight, the Stardom, not Starlight, the Stardom, reputable match in there, but I don't see her winning.
No, but what I expected out of Starlight Kid to have most of the offense in that match and
Oh
get a
yeah.
great showing, and Tekla pulls it out by the skin of her, by the hair of her lips.
Moxley versus Bandito.
Mox has got to win that one.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not a big Bandito fan, but the guy's incredible in the ring. And again, it's he just the character doesn't jive with me. But I'm really impressed by his strength. But nah, he's not the guy to take the title off Moxley. There's something else going to go on with him, and I think Bandito and Brody King have a future together, or either together or fighting with each other. Moxley defends.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. What about the one I'm looking forward to? And surprisingly, I'm really into this, especially after the segment this past week on Dynamite is Cope and Cage against the Dogs.
Yeah, I'm going with Cope and Cage retaining, but I really do like what they've done with the dogs to this point.
Fuck
Because
yes.
when they first came in, I was like, I don't give a fuck about these guys and Gabe
Yep.
Kidd.
Yep.
But what they've done with them since, um, if I had to make a guess at why they're working like this, is Cope and Cage are like, we can do something with these guys.
Yep.
And that's what I see Cope and Cage as the tag champs is right now is we can do something with these guys, we can do something with these guys. But I expect Cope and Cage to retain. Um, I'm going with them retaining the championships. Again, a skin of your teeth kind of thing, but they retain.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to go that way too. But I don't think the feud will end after
No,
this
I
match.
agree. I agree. It'll continue, but they'll keep the titles.
But I'm pretty damn impressed. Like I was how you were when they first started feuding. It was like, what the fuck ever. But after they did that first 5 second pose, ever since then it's been really good. And this past week on Dynamite was fucking great. I mean, it's you know, whoever watched it saw it. Cope and Cage, the segment starts with them beating the shit out of the dogs, and then eventually the dogs take over. And I think it was Finley. Yeah, it was Finley who actually had the Christian sunglasses on that wrapped around his head from back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yep.
actually, he actually put those on. So that was a good thing too. And then like I noticed, not to go off on a, rant, but right after that, they cut away from that segment. The dogs lay out Christian Cage and Cope, and they go back to Max Excalibur, and he's like, "Oh, the dogs got the best of of Copen Cage that time. Here's our next match. It was like nothing. Like that's the one thing. Like if it was WWE, they'd be talking about like, holy shit, like we can't believe this happened. It's appalling. That kind of shit. They'd be wheeling them out on stretchers and into ambulances and shit. But with Excalibur, it was just like, oh yeah, that sucked. Next match.
So apparently there was actually something going on with Tony Khan behind the scenes with the whole booking of Dynamite this week. And if you notice, it was match after match after match. Everything seemed kind of rushed. Um, Allegedly, it had something to do with the World Cup being on TV too.
Oh, okay.
So he's trying to get everything in that he could. And that's the reason why everything was so rushed. But then again, it could also be the other chop chop snort snort booking that transpired. We don't know for sure.
I actually I like Dynamite too. Because I mean they it was a lot of matches, but they had the Briscoe friggin' MJF with all the dudes at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Um the Don Callis segment, which we talked about.
Fucking
Um
t-shirt.
yeah, that fucking t-shirt. So they did have segments thrown in as well. It wasn't, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good show. It
Yeah,
it got it got me interested in Forbidden Door between the last segment and especially the segment with the dogs and Copen Cage. So
I stick with Copen Cage retaining, and I see them going into All In to have something go down with the New Day when they finally show up in AEW, and the Team of Hardys.
that's coming up soon. New Day. I
Yeah,
know
they
they
should be
said
there pretty soon.
sometime in July. They said
Yep. So then I'm looking forward to it's obviously going there. What else we got here? We didn't do the Sky Team versus the Young Bucks versus who the hell are those guys?
Unbound.
Unbound Company.
Yeah,
All right. So the Bucks.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the Bucks. The Bucks come out of that one.
This this
Who takes
this
the pin? I
this
don't
this
even know.
this this reminds me of another like. All right, we're gonna throw the AEW team against the New Japan team against the CMLL team.
Yeah.
More exhibition, which leads into it's not what it used to be.
No,
Forbidden
it's
Door.
not. It's not. If you go back and look at the previous Forbidden Door cards, again, this is no not again. This is no slight against this card and the people on it.
Right.
But if you look at the past cards on paper, they were stronger. There was bigger names on the cards as far as other companies' talent showing up for the show.
Right.
The biggest name on this card from a different company is Zack Saban Jr. So
Easily, yeah.
they need to change this shit up next year and just get rid of it. Pac against Umino. Is that his name?
Yep. Umino. Shota Umino. Yep.
Yeah. Pac loses.
Yeah, he's not good. No.
No, he's losing. It'll be a good match.
Yeah, but
And
he's not winning the friggin' IWGP. No.
no, no, he's not. And Pac's a guy who, when back when the Lucha Brothers were still in the company and they worked with him, that was a great fitting. The Death Triangle.
Yeah,
He's a guy. He's a guy who I think is lost in the Death Riders. Doesn't need the Death Riders. And you know, Chris Benoit, Dynamite Kid kind of guy. He could stand alone by himself and win a singles title. I don't think he's somebody who I would rebook, is what I'm getting to. Because he has something that is legit in the ring and can bring more than what he gets and does, but he's not winning his title.
no, no, I don't think so. And like I said, only, strictly for the fact that, like I said, Pac, who's not in New Japan, I mean, he may do some shit over there, but Umini? Umini?
Umino. Yeah,
Umini.
Umino.
I mean, he's a
We're gonna get ripped apart for that one. Never
Nah,
know.
man, like people fucking mispronounce my name every fucking day of the week. So, but I don't. He's a fixture over there. They're not gonna have him. They're not gonna have him lose in whatever fucking city it's in America to a dude who's a mid Carter in AEW. Not gonna
Yeah,
happen.
and trumping all of that is if you remember our conversation before from the things we've heard is that and no folks, we don't have inside scoops like other companies who
No,
spend their entire life or like other YouTubers who spend their entire lives night and day because they get paid to fucking watch and deal with wrestling. This is coming from we come from a fan's perspective more than anything else.
we we
Uh
we 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 have less inside knowledge and scoops than Dave Meltzer does these days, and
yeah,
that's pretty bad. So
yeah.
we're
Um
we're 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 grassroots fans.
this is the end of the New Japan AEW relationship anyway.
Yeah,
So, and if anyone wants to go ahead and look into it themselves, go watch NXT. You'll figure out what we're talking about. So, and then we've got the buy-in match, which is the women's tag championship
right.
with the Hottazons versus Thunder Rosa and Olympia. So the Hottazons are going to retain, um,
I agree.
and I don't know why they're going to. I'm just going to go with they're going to retain because I'm going to start getting into all different scenarios on why they retain, but they're going to retain.
I I think it only makes sense that they retain.
Yeah, they should. There's no reason they've already defended the belts,
Right.
and they're huge. They're actually they're in the female division. This is who I want to see the tag titles on. The
Right.
two big girls.
Right.
And of course, one of the reasons why. Sorry, honey, I don't know your name. I always forget it. But Megan Bain's partner is not Penelope Ford. Penelope got hurt again. Otherwise, it would be Penelope Ford in this position. But this too, like AEW Glamazonian tag team, is good. They should have the titles on. They build legitimacy to the belts and the characters and the wrestlers all at once. Because who's going to take the titles off these two big girls?
Right.
You got to have a team that is comes together. It's a great underdog story waiting to be built. You know, two normal chicks come along and finally dethrone these two beasts at the top of the ladder. But it's not going to be Thunder Rosa or Olympia. So
No. No.
and Olympia is quite a beast herself. You've seen her matches. She's a strong,
Yeah.
but it's not her. It's not her. But that's what I think of the show. I think again from AEW, we'll get a solid pay per view that doesn't disappoint. Um, but I
They
also think
they got a lot to live up to after the last pay-per-view.
I don't think Forbidden Door will live up to the last pay per view. It's Forbidden Door at this point, and whatever's coming up next before All In is filler time. But they'll do good fillers. AEW brings us wrestling matches right now. The WWE brings us storylines. And
Entrances and ads.
yeah, the majority of the show is entrances, ads, storylines, smidgen of wrestling.
Yeah.
You watch AEW, you get wrestling, and that's what's got me still going with it right now. Is I was like, cool, it's wrestling. I would rather watch wrestling, even if it's not the style of wrestling I prefer, versus motherfucking 15 minutes of back and forth on the microphone between two guys.
And and
Uh,
and, and a credit to AEW, the last 5 6 weeks or so,
uh,
I think the Dynamite episodes have been excellent. They've had me, they've lured me in, and they've been doing good build-ups to their pay-per-views. Whereas WWE, it's like they're always juggling, like they can't keep up with all their shit.
no, they can't. It seems lost versus structured, for lack of a better term. Um,
So this is even though what we announced at the top of the show was supposed to be Supernova and um new albums by old bands, but we spent more time as usual. We're not really formatted on this show yet, folks. So we'll get there. But
Nah,
as of right now,
God.
we're not really formatted. So yeah, we took this whole friggin' episode to talk about fucking wrestling. Um,
And we'll actually get some formatting down here. Eddie and I will talk about that stuff off camera, off microphone, um,
yeah, we're still
including
finding our footing.
because even though right now it's late at night, we both have 9 to 5ers. I'm down for Supernova and new albums by old artists conversation here within the next couple of days to pick up on this.
Yeah,
So, we got a lot of content coming right now. And, Ed's got a normal schedule. I've got the hectic schedule. So if we veer off anything, it's because of me. But we'll get it all figured out and keep the true blue fan out there entertained.
you're goddamn right we will. So, well, on that note,
That was
um,
that was that was Ed.
yeah, that was Ed, and that guy laughing is Dom.
Thanks for fucking listening. Like, share, and subscribe. Pass this along to somebody else like a good fucking toke so they get on the good times too.